welcome to the Sigma Show, episode 96. It's me, your host, Sigma. Just before I let you know who's joining me this week, we're going to go over what our topics are going to be. First up, Square Enix has their CEO, for their longtime CEO, who is now actually stepping down, going to let somebody else run the show for a while. We'll talk about like maybe some reasons why this should have happened sooner, or just in general what maybe Square Enix's future will look like with maybe some new leadership. And after that, we've gotten a couple little stories regarding the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard King, namely that Sony may be forced to show some of its hand in terms of exclusivity deals at the request of Microsoft because of all this litigation surrounding their opposition to the merger. And also a bunch of deals that we've heard about Microsoft making over the past couple of weeks might actually be doing the trick in terms of letting them go through with it over in the European Union. But here to talk with me about these topics, Marty Sleva.
Whoa.
Rexicon Jesse.
Good time of day to you.
And Yokina Cat.
Hey, y'all.
Good time of day to you?
Well, it might not be morning for that.
Yeah, right, yeah. There are weird greetings like that when you have to deal with like a global team. Like someone on my team at Ubisoft says, happy time zone.
Okay.
I like that one. Happy time zone.
Yeah. No, that checks out. If I stream on like a Friday night, I'll say happy Friday, and then some people it's like Saturday morning if they're like, you know.
Yeah, so then you're just
But
factually wrong.
but the classic Southern Texas, hey y'all or howdy, it covers morning, noon, and night.
It does.
Hey y'all is the great equalizer.
And it also lets the person you're saying hi to know that you have guns and that they should be wary.
No, y'all doesn't mean you have guns. It's just you all.
Let me tip my imaginary cowboy hat. All right, there you go.
Give you a yeehaw.
So like we tend to do, we like to start these shows with a little bit of a warm-up, I feel. Just catching folks up on what we've been playing, what we've been watching, maybe what we've been listening to, if that's relevant to your life. Anybody feel like going first?
I can jump in.
Yeah,
I can jump in.
right
I've been watching a lot of stuff. I went to the movie theater yesterday.
Oh, what's that?
And I saw.
Did you get popcorn?
Fun.
I did get popcorn. Yes, it was. Let me tell you, it was very good. But I went there to see the Demon Slayer thing, and I'm prefacing it that it's the Demon Slayer thing because it's very different than when Mugen Train released in theaters and was like a film.
Yeah.
Because this was a combination of the last two episodes of the Entertainment District arc, which aired like a year ago, and then the first episode of the upcoming Swordsmith Village arc, which is going to air in like a month. And so it was like part refresher, part prelude to what's coming up, but stitched together with some additional stuff. And first and foremost, I like watching things in movie theaters. If they showed like season finales of shows I liked in movie theaters, I'd probably go to it. Like if The Last of Us season finale was in a movie theater, I'd probably go see it. Game of Thrones finale was in a theater.
Was that not a thing at some point? Like I feel like some theater chains were like advertising like, hey, you can sign up for this pass and then like we'll play like some of those original series like when they air like in a theater. I feel like I remember an advertisement for that sort of thing.
Maybe that was like specific chains or something.
Maybe
because I don't remember any of the ones near me.
That there were some places that were doing that. I remember that for Game of Thrones.
Oh wow. I feel like HBO might have like sued them. They were like, you can't do that. It's like at a bar, you're supposed to like pay a fee if you're going to show the Super Bowl or something.
Probably just pay the fee.
Yeah, play the classic movie theater fee. But that Demon Slayer is like one of my favorite looking anime. That's currently running, and so seeing it in theaters, like I saw Mugen Train in theaters. That was one of the first movies I saw after the pandemic, during the pandemic.
Yeah, that was actually one that got me to go out back to the theater after a long
hiatus. That made $500 million worldwide. So I understand why they're doing this thing, because even though this isn't a movie, they're like, well, if that thing made $500 million, maybe we can make 1/10 of that by showing an episode that's gonna be on Crunchyroll in a month. Yeah, but I loved the end of the last arc, which I won't spoil it, but the Entertainment District arc kind of ends with the fighting this sort of sibling pair of demons that has this kind of symbiotic relationship. That was fucking awesome to watch in theaters. And then the opening of the new arc is incredible. It opens with this like 15-minute scene in that kind of like infinite staircase labyrinth area that the bad guys,
upper rank demons hang out.
Yeah, but this is the first time like you meet all of the upper rank like 1 through 5, and it feels it's 20-minute, almost like a stage play where it's like the 5 of them interacting with each other, and you're getting bits. And I love how like one is like serious as hell, one seems absolutely insane, one seems afraid of everything, one is like terrifyingly calm. And so like just sort of it feels very much like laying the pieces for, because apparently the show I think is only going to go, if it follows the manga, is only going to go 4 seasons. So we're like it's over halfway done.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so am I. And so like this kind of like laid the groundwork for who's going to be the antagonist for the rest of the series. I thought it was really cool, and then the actual Swordsmith Village stuff I thought was really cool, which is ultimately like Tanjiro needs a new sword, and so he has to go to this like hidden village where they actually make all the swords, and all the swordsmiths live. So I thought that was really cool, and that got me really excited. The show's coming back in I think they said at the beginning of April. It's going to start airing weekly. So
Nice.
yeah, really stoked for that. I thought that was really cool.
I love Demon Slayer. I still have a little bit of beef with Darren Mooney, our resident film critic over on Escapist, because he went and saw Mugen Train and kind of didn't like it. Right? Like he wrote a thing about how it was kind of mediocre.
Yeah.
And I feel like Darren just doesn't get anime.
More like Darren Midney. I'm not sure if that worked.
It didn't, but I still found it hilarious.
Darren, why don't you go live on the moon?
I thought you were gonna go Darren Booney.
Ooh, that's that's probably where I should have went. Also, like you're really in character with this like Bonesy thing you got going on. Like you just feel like a little Halloween pun machine.
This is technically a pajama, but I think it's a great shirt. It's just
isn't anything if you go to sleep in it's a pajama, right?
that's also true.
You go to sleep in a tuxedo. That's just
this is my sleeping suit.
Yeah, it's my sleeping tux. And then also sticking with anime, I did a refresher on Attack on Titan, not by watching the whole thing. I watched like recaps of the previous seasons, and then I watched the last 3 episodes because the first of 2 or 3 hour-long episodes of the third part of the finale aired.
Yeah, season. It's the final season, part 3.
Right.
Final season, part 3.
3. Yeah.
But this is part 1 of part 3.
Yes, part 1 of part 3. Yeah.
And it's like a beefy episode. Okay, so there's okay. How many said so? There's 2 like so the last half of season 5, part 3 aired on Friday.
4.
There are too many numbers.
The final season of Attack on Titan is going to have a table of contents when it comes out on Blu-ray.
It is so confusing.
Yeah, it really is.
So confusing. Whatever the fuck it is. I didn't watch it. Just refreshed myself on the stuff beforehand. And it was a nice, I was like, oh man, I legitimately forgot that this was all the stuff that was happening. Because I remembered the whole like, oh, Aaron's like, transcends time. It's like Dr. Manhattan and is living like in the past, present, and future all at once, and like all that stuff. I kind of had vague memories of all that, and then I'm like, oh,
he's a war criminal now.
He's a war criminal, and he's sending all the Titans. They're all like walking across the ocean to go like fuck up Europe. Or I'm not sure if that show is supposed to take place in the real world or not.
It takes place in a version of the real world. Like the real world existed, and then like the Titan stuff happened. So it's in a way a post-apocalypse.
Wait, I thought they were on a different planet.
They might be.
When they get to the mainland, it's just very like European. Like I don't know, there's just like cars and blimps. Those are the 2 big things I know about Europe. They have cars and blimps, and they got those Stroopwafels, those little things you put on coffee.
Yeah,
love those. I put those on my tea. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, those are so good.
Sorry.
They're great.
So good. So yeah, Honey Money, I know really dug the new episode, which I plan on watching today, so I'm excited for that. Although, like, the episode's airing today, and then I think the last episode isn't airing for a while, so I'm like, what are we doing here? Attack on Titan. Like, I understand you don't want to end, but just, like, make it easy for me. Like, I forget
like, what are they going to
easily.
do when they actually have to end that show? Like I can't remember that's Mappa, right?
It is Mappa now, yeah.
Oh,
like
changed
shifted
to
production.
Mappa. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do they not have anything else in, like, like they have nothing else that's coming out after this? Like nothing else to promote? They're like, the Attack on Titan is just our bread and butter?
I mean, I imagine it's their most popular thing.
Are we going to get prequel series then? Like Attack on...
But I would imagine it being the house of one of the biggest animes ever, I would assume that, people would be wanting them to, house, whatever may be coming, if I'm making any sense.
Yeah.
Like that can't be the only project that place has. Like it just doesn't seem it just doesn't seem very, like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like if
Yeah.
you're the one that has Attack on Titan, which is huge, I would assume that you would have multiple other things that you have coming up, but I could be wrong. So
Yeah. I also don't know if is Attack on Titan as much of like an auteured thing like the manga as like Berserk or One Piece were, where like Berserk and One Piece are like very much like this is one person's vision, and yeah, a bunch of people obviously work on it, but like this was Oda's vision or Mayura's vision.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Does Attack on
about
Titan like have that person? Like, is there a?
Yeah, because to be honest, I could not tell you the name of the mangaka behind Attack on Titan, so I don't know.
Is that what you call people who draw manga?
Yes,
Mangaka?
yeah, yes.
Cool. That's a cool term. So yeah, that was a long way of saying I did not watch the new Attack on Titan, but
That's fine,
I am all
'cause
prepared.
That's good that you caught up on the stuff, and that there was a way for you to do it without rewatching everything all over again. Because that's kind of a needless time.
That's like 87 episodes. That's a lot of episodes.
But yeah, like once they wrap everything up, I think that's when I want to dive back in because we had like the little anime section on a podcast a while back. I went and caught up on everything up until that point. And like I really, really liked the show, but I regretted that because it ended on such a cliffhanger that really makes me feel like, damn, what comes next? And that was the whole reason why I even read the manga, was because I watched the first 5 episodes and was like, damn, what comes next? I can't wait.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want to see anything until it's done because I want to see it to its conclusion.
Yeah, and that's how you kind of you wait for, like when you watch One Piece, you wait for like big old chunks to be done, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, anime, I'm not huge on the week to week anime thing. I like week to week in almost every other kind of show.
Is that more that we're older now? Like I kind of feel like as a kid, I could not wait for like the next Inuyasha episode, or I could not wait for the next. Well, I know we didn't have a choice, but like now it's just kind of like you have certain shows now. They do it in, like, was it Netflix or HBO Max, where they were doing, for example, Euphoria. I really like the show Euphoria, and they were doing 1 episode a week, and I just could not stand it. So what I did is
HBO still does the 1 episode a week thing. Like,
so what I did was, I actually didn't start watching Euphoria until season 2, but I hadn't even seen season 1 yet, so I binged watch the entire first season, and then I was able to, like, okay, I feel I can wait 1 episode per week now. But I was like, I thought about that. Like, we didn't really have a choice back then, but now that it's so readily available to us to just sit there and watch it, it's just like, I can't.
Yeah, because it's not even just that you had no way to watch it all, other than week to week. But if you missed it week to week, you might never see the episode again. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. You'd be like, well, I'll have to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, like, because a lot of shows, unless they were super popular, like they would air the one time and then like go away. And if they were super popular, they would repeat the airing over and over again. So like if you missed the 1 episode and then go back to it, you'd have to wait until it reaches its end, starts over from the beginning of its arc, and then catches all the way back up. So like it was an insane time.
Yeah.
That's assuming they even play all of the episodes or all the episodes
in order.
In order.
Yeah.
When it's
sometimes it's just a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. For some, like, manga or anime, to me, like episodes of anime feel like a single issue of a comic book. And I don't like reading comic books weekly either. I'd rather just wait till I have like the full graphic novels or whatever.
Yeah, they're notoriously stingy in terms of actual progress per episode.
Whereas like I've really enjoyed like The Last of Us and doing weekly, and House of the Dragon and Mando now and Poker Face. I did watch Poker Face. I caught up on it. Honey Money, incredible episode. Oh my god, that might be, if it's not for The Last of Us, that'd be the best show on TV. Poker Face is so good. Everyone go subscribe to your Peacocks. No, don't actually subscribe to Peacock. Maybe just steal it.
Yeah, if you can steal it, do it.
Just make a dummy Hotmail account and get your free
get your free trial.
Get your free trial and then just
infinite free trials. I like it.
Don't put any billing information in your
Can you spill Hotmail? Is that an option?
Yes. Yes, it sure is.
I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. One of our contributors uses a Hotmail, and let me say, every time I get an email from them, I'm like, "What's going on here?"
Hotmail spicy.
What are we doing? Yeah, apparently.
They don't want you to track them. That's all. They're up to business. That's not any of yours.
Yeah, it's been pretty much my stuff. I got one thing I've been playing that I can kind of save because it kind of dovetails in with one of our main topics. And then I just want everyone to play Pizza Tower.
Yeah,
Pizza Tower's so
you keep
good.
talking about
What?
Pizza Tower.
Oh my god, I'm all in this Pizza Tower. Jesse, you know about this Pizza Tower?
No, what the heck is a
Look it
pizza
up real
tower?
quick.
Look it up real quick. It's like if it's the old Wario Land games, but if someone who only grew up watching Nickelodeon cartoons used MS Paint to draw a game
That sounds
about a
extremely
man
tricky.
named Pizza Peppino who accidentally creates a pizza who goes to take over the world, and he has to climb the pizza tower to defeat said pizza.
So what?
It is so good. It's like legitimately good. It's not like
I trust you, Marty. So
it's not
I'm
like
gonna.
it's shit good.
It's called Pizza Tower?
Pizza Tower, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying Pizza Tar. You were saying tower so fast.
Pizza, yeah. It's
Like Pizza Tar.
Yeah, the movie Tar, but it's about pizza.
Oh, wow.
Kate Blanchett's Pizza Tar.
This 100% looks like what I remember Sega Genesis games looking like.
Okay, now I gotta look.
The
I'm
hand-drawn
intrigued.
animation is
Uh-huh.
so good. Like the movement feels so good, and so it's built the same way a Wario level is, which is like it's more sort of like it's less like just go to the right and get to the finish line. It's kind of like a maze, like a puzzle. But
Yeah.
the way the Wario levels work is you get to the end of the level, you knock down a thing, and then you have a certain amount of time to get back to the start before the level falls on you. And so it is like getting to the finish line is only half the battle, because then you have to use your memory of the rest of the level plus new areas that have opened up to sort of sprint back to. So you take like the first half of the level is you taking it slow and learning everything, and then the second half of the level is booking it back to the start to like GTFO before the 2-minute timer runs out. And like it's just really great. I don't know, it's like using both halves of your brain in a single level that I really appreciate.
This looks wild.
Lampy is Pizza Tower Hidden Gem. I feel like it's even transcended Hidden Gem. It's just it's like a big old gem now. It's like
You said,
it's like
you
the
said
big
it was
bug
like
pizza.
super popular or whatever, but was that a
Yeah.
lie? Were you just lying?
No, that was that wasn't lie. If it wasn't for Sons of the Forest, it'd probably be the biggest indie game of the year so far.
It's
okay.
only got 8,000 reviews on Steam, so technically could count as a hidden gem.
by our rule set, I guess.
Yeah.
What is your rule set for that? I'm curious.
Under 10,000 Steam reviews and $15 or less in price.
So what made you come to that?
We didn't do that. That was Nick who
Yeah.
who set those
Oh, okay. I
parameters.
was like,
Jesse and I
interesting.
constantly try to
Like,
break those parameters.
Also, those are some parameters is a generous phrase. Those are some loose guidelines that have been broken multiple times.
Yes.
Not even by us.
True.
Sometimes it's
Pizza
like,
Tower.
do
If I put-
Vampire Survivor. And you're like,
If I get Pizza Tower in the account, will you guys do Pizza Tower?
Absolutely.
I would play
Okay,
Pizza Tower.
100%.
Okay. Great. We've done it. We got Pizza Tower.
All right. I mean, yeah,
That's
Jesse
it for me.
Jesse played Vampire Survivors on Hidden Gems before it was like Vampire Survivors,
Yeah.
or at least he
Oh.
mentioned it. Maybe he didn't play it until after it was a big deal. But I know you mentioned it beforehand.
but yeah, by the time my turn came back around, it had like 100,000 reviews.
man, Jesse was in the mud. He was in the mud before anyone else was there.
Wait, by the time your turn came back around, isn't it the next week? Don't you guys just do swapsies every week?
Yeah, but I think it was. I don't remember if it was 1 week or 2 week. Like if someone mentioned it while I was playing, or if it was just 1 week. Actually,
if the
no, I
game
think
just,
it
like,
was
blew
1
up.
week, and it was
Yeah.
while Casey was playing. Someone was like, "Did you hear about Vampire Survivors?" So it might have literally been 1 week.
It's possible.
Do you guys,
I can't
Do
admit.
you
being
guys
in
get
the
that
mud,
game?
though. That was someone in chat.
I don't. I think I don't get it, but I think Jesse.
I don't get it either. I don't get it either. Vampire Survivors.
I understand the appeal, but yeah, it's not. I played it for that and was like neat, and I played it like one other time for like 20 minutes, and then have never gone back to it.
Yeah, I watched Jesse play it. I thought, yeah, that looks like an experience, and never tried it myself. Had no interest in it.
I think Frost and I were talking about, given that how much that game blew up, I have to imagine some AAA devs are looking at that, being like,
Yeah, that
how do
would
we
make sense.
somehow replicate that feeling, that tone, that gameplay loop? And so it'll be interesting to
heaven.
see. Yeah, but then a part of me is like, well, is that going to take like 2 years? Like, will people care about this in 2 or 3 years? Like the same way we're getting, these games like the Suicide Squad thing, where 6 years ago someone saw the success of Destiny and was like, let's do that. And 6 years later, everyone's like, we don't want that anymore.
Yeah, it takes too long. That's the thing. Like the AAA people have to give it a single or double A budget for the fast turnaround. Otherwise, they will not be able to capitalize. So it would be interesting if a lot of the big publishers pivot in that way. They're like, all right, well, we have all these teams. What are you guys doing? Not much. All right, tackle this and see if it blows up, because you get so much more return on that investment than you do hundreds of millions of dollars in a really big thing that then falls flat on its face.
You tell Ubisoft to do something with Pizza Tower.
Do something with Pizza Tower? What, like
have Pizza Tower, have Peppino meet Rayman or something. They seem like they'd be pals.
I thought you were gonna say make it a Rainbow Six Siege skin.
Oh my God, Pizza Peppino and Rainbow Six Siege. That'd be
also huge. Pizza Tower as a Rainbow Six Siege level.
Whole tower of pizza. Think about it.
Yeah, destructibility. You guys are speaking their language.
Oh my God.
All right, does that wrap things up for you, Marty?
It does.
All right. I guess I can go next. I have actually been playing more Destiny 2 to be exact. I'm a little perturbed because it's been a very long time that I've wanted to jump back into Destiny 2 and just haven't. And like in the open party in particular, we have a very vibrant Destiny 2 community. Like folks love that game in there, and they'll be talking about lore and weapons or whatever, and I'll feel left out because I don't know what any of that means anymore. Like my time has passed. But like, all right, now I want to jump back in. Lightfall is here. The trailers look super dope. But like nobody's talking about it. And the stuff that I do hear when people are talking about it is like not good. Like folks aren't really into Lightfall. But I've only played like 2 story missions and one of those like side adventure things. And I've really enjoyed what I've played so far, despite the fact that I'm playing it solo, which you usually shouldn't play Destiny solo, especially if you're playing it on the legendary difficulty where you get all the good stuff. It takes a very long time to get through those levels. But
it's like playing Uno by yourself. Like it's not designed for that.
It's really not. It's really not. But like I play so late at night that like there's no one else awake who can like run those things with me. And the story missions are not match made. So like the one like side thing I did was, and I had a randos who ran through the thing with me, and it was a very fun time going through that. The story missions, I'm liking the information that I'm getting about the world. I'm liking the level layouts. Like I think that city, Neo Muna, is like really, really beautiful. Like it's a really fantastic looking, like super futuristic neon lit cityscape. But like the enemy encounters just take a while because it's just me, and there's so many of them with like heavy shields and like tons of firepower. Like it's a hassle. But I'm still enjoying it. So like it really sucks that it seems like the consensus on it is that this is worse than all of the ones that came before that I bought and skipped out on.
Yeah, from what I've seen in a lot of the responses to it, it's the people who are super heavily invested in the story who are disappointed by the story in this expansion. Mm-hmm. But people seem to like the quality of life changes and the new mechanics and the new things. So I don't know, like maybe you're digging it because you're seemingly less invested in, like you're not like reading up on his lore every night.
I did watch an hour-long lore video before jumping into it because I wanted to catch up on whatever I missed. Like I want to be invested in the story. Like I like the characters. Like I still remember most of their names back from when I used to play super heavily. So like I'll come back into the tower or the farm, whatever the new hub place is, and be like, oh, I remember Tess Everett. I remember Amanda Holiday. What are they all up to? And like I want to see them interacting and see like how things have progressed, because back when I was playing Destiny heavy, they refused to move the actual plot of the story forward. And the stuff happening now is them finally moving the plot forward. Like stuff is happening with the Traveler and with the Darkness, and like these events have now gained momentum. And it just sucks to hear that people are saying like, oh, that momentum is bad. Like they should not have actually gone in the directions that they've gone, because I've not reached that part yet. So, but I don't know, maybe now that my expectations are being set a little lower, that I'll come out of it the other side satisfied anyway. Because so far I have liked everything I've seen, but I'm not super far into it yet. But that's Destiny 2. Also, I can talk about Wolong, since that review is out, embargo's up.
Oh yeah.
I almost wrote my review that Neo is to Dark Souls what Wolong is to Sekiro, because it's almost exactly the same philosophy in that if you're, being very measured in your approach to combat. And Koei Tecmo basically took that from Dark Souls and like put a bunch of action mechanics in that for Neo. They essentially did that with Sekiro. So it's the same core philosophy, is that you are in a much faster paced fight. It's very parry heavy. You need to basically be quick and aggressive in your fights with enemies. But it also adds a bunch of other mechanics on top of that to flesh it out and make it even more, I don't want to say even more interesting, because I still think Sekiro's combat is perfect. Like they nail the feeling of that back and forth sword play so perfectly. And what Wolong is doing is matching that, but also giving you a lot of other things to play with in that ecosystem. So like, on one hand, you could think of it as like busy work because it's kind of ancillary. Like you could play the whole game without engaging with any of that stuff. It would be harder because they designed it that way. But like you could just parry everything, block everything, and attack with basic attacks, and you could beat bosses. But I like all that extra stuff. Like it makes it more fun. Not more fun than Sekiro, but it makes Wolong itself more fun than what it would be kind of just copying it wholesale. Like it gives it its own identity, I guess.
I think it was I watched a couple of reviews. I think it was your review though that pointed out it encourages you to like really explore and to like kind of map the entire level, because you find these like totems or whatever,
right,
that are kind of like, I'm assuming like your bonfires.
Yeah, they're essentially bonfires. Some you can save at, others they just act as a way to increase your fortitude rank. And the morale system is like their whole backbone that kind of mitigates some of the challenge, or maybe a lot of the challenge that you would normally face in like one of these sorts of games. Because like everybody and everything has a number, right? You start the level at 0, and like you'll come across enemies who are also at 0. Some will be at 1, some will be at 10. And if you try to fight anything significantly higher than you, there is a visceral difference in how much damage they can deal to you versus how much you can deal to them. Like it's almost as if they're actual like character levels above you, even though you have a character level which is completely separate from the system. So it's the way you build up your morale rank is to just fight as many enemies as you can. Doesn't matter what the rank is, as long as you're killing enemies, you build up morale. So they make it so that it's not worth it at all to take on super hard enemies super early, because they'll probably kill you. You'll just reset to 0 and have to do it over again. If you take out all the peons in order, like it'll go from sometimes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like literally just counting the path. You follow the path of those enemies. By the time you get back to where the super strong enemy is, you're either at their level or stronger, and then you just continue to progress. So like you don't ever really feel stuck in a level, and like all the levels are fairly linear. Like they're not super confusing or maze-like in a way that some Souls levels can be, and that you need to really figure out where the hell you're supposed to go next. Like you'll know where you're supposed to go because it's the only place you haven't gone yet. And they'll just lead you right to a boss door. And if you've found all the little totems on the way to that boss door, you'll be the same level as the boss. Oftentimes higher, because they give you cushion. Like you'll find more enemies than you actually need to deal with. So like you'll have some cushion. You go into that boss room, you can actually take them on fairly easily if you're over leveled for that boss. So yeah, like most of the boss fights are very challenging though. They take several, because me, I don't want to be over leveled. Like I want to fight bosses on like their terms. And sometimes I'll go in with maybe a level below, but that's just because I'm impatient. I didn't find the thing before I got there. And I'll just keep beating my head against the boss because I'm like, one level can't be that bad, right? But no, it matters, and they will kick your ass, and you'll have to replay them several times. But I don't think there was any boss I came across that was especially frustrating. But other than, weirdly enough, the first boss.
I've heard a lot of talk about how the game has this weird, like everyone's like, is this first boss broken?
No,
like, what's going on here?
It's kind of a skill check in that first boss has 2 phases, mind you. I don't think any other boss has 2 phases. Like maybe one other one, but like the very first boss has 2 phases. And his first phase is pretty difficult. You really do need to like learn what they want you to do, which is parry like hell. Break their stance, get like those visceral attacks in or whatever. But then once you learn how to do that, and the second phase starts, that one is all about reading the enemy, because like he has like really big flamboyant moves. Like he turns to a demon. He does like very big sweeping attacks, and it's definitely trying to teach you what you should be looking out for in boss fights in the future, but like they really just throw that at you at the beginning, and not until you beat that boss does it even show you the title screen, like where it says "Wo Long Fallen Knight." So it's like that. This is where the game begins.
That's sick.
So like they really that boss took me the longest of any boss in the game, and that was the very first boss. But like once you're past that, then I think you'll have the rest of the game dialed in.
Was it like this? Like you said, was it like this? It being the first boss, was it like that? Mr. Krabs confused meme, like you're coming and you're confused, like what the heck is going on?
Why?
Like why is this happening? I even pressed enter yet or start. Like what's going on?
Because I think most people know what they're getting into with this. They're like, okay, this is in the vein of the Souls games and whatnot, so it's supposed to be challenging. But that first one is quite a significant skill check. So like, either you're into that or you're not into that. That'll honestly probably push some people away. Like if they didn't know what this was and it just showed up on Game Pass, like, oh, this looks cool, that might break them and be like, this is not what I want. Because like the lead up to that is not that bad. Like there's like little grunt enemies along the pathway. Like no one is like a rank so much higher than where you are at that point. But then it doesn't take very long for you to get to that boss, and that boss is a beast. So I'd be interested to hear about the folks who like didn't continue after that, or who just gave up on that boss fight. Because that boss isn't at the max level, whatever. But you can do the thing that you do in Dark Souls games where you grind, except you're grinding the morale rank. So like you can get up to 25 morale, but the bosses will be capped at a certain number. So the very first boss is only capped at like 10, I think, 10 or 15. And like the highest I've seen any boss after that was 20. And like they can go up like maybe 1 because they do a certain move on you that will give them 1 during the fight. But that's it. Like you can be 25 anytime you go up against a boss, and usually that'll give you enough of an edge to compensate for like some mistakes in battle. But yeah, Wolong, it's been fun. There's a lot of side stuff in it. So like if you are still like feeling underleveled or whatever, or you want like more materials to like grind your gear up to give you like higher numbers for all your gear or whatever, they have several side quests that are just little snippets of the main mission maps. Like they'll block off areas and just have you go through like a smaller version of a path through there, and then you'll fight like a NPC type enemy, not like a big boss, but you'll fight like just a real strong regular guy. Mm-hmm. And then that'll just give you extra stuff like equipment, money, resources or whatever, and then you can take that stuff into any other situation that you've been struggling with, or just overlevel yourself to the point where it makes things less of a problem. So you can skip all that stuff too. Like I skipped most of it. I tried like maybe 2 of those side missions just to see what they were like, but they're not super interesting. They're really just there in case you want to grind.
It's on Game Pass. Hell yeah.
Yeah, the game is on Game Pass.
Also has mostly negative reviews on Steam.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, it might be because of PC performance.
Yeah, like, that's a huge part of what it looks like people are complaining about.
Yeah, like it doesn't run... Well, it ran fine, but it had like this constant visual hiccup where like it would kind of just blink. Like it wouldn't happen consistently, like all the time, like from beginning to end, but every now and then it would just happen. So like,
you played it on PC?
Yeah, I played on PC on the Escapist account and whatnot. Like every now and then it would get like a couple. It would get pretty framey. And it did crash a handful of times. Like I was lucky in that none of the crashes happened like at like really bad times, except for one that was right at a boss fight. But I was again lucky because I had used a particular thing that saved my morale, so that even though I guess they counted that as a death because the game crashed, I reloaded right outside the boss door at the same morale rank, and then I beat it that first time anyway because I was at the high rank. So like it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
But like I'm sure it would have been a very different situation if I didn't have my exact progress saved, and if the fight hadn't just started. Like I started the boss fight, he attacked me like 3 times and then the thing crashed. So I'm sure other folks are getting like much more frustrated than I did. But yeah, like they need to fix whatever the hell's going on PC. But I think that's it for me. I don't think I watched. I'm still watching White Lotus. Haven't finished season 1 yet. I got one more episode left in that. And I'm caught up on The Last of Us. I'll be watching whatever episode's coming out tonight.
I gotta catch up on that today.
How good is Murray Bartlett, the dude who works at the hotel in White Lotus, and then the guy who was in the Nick Offerman episode of
oh, that was him?
Yeah.
That's the same guy?
Yeah, he's Frank, of Bill and Frank.
Because my fiance pointed that out, and I was like, nah, I don't think that's him.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, I don't think that's that dude. He's really good. I freaking love his character in White Lotus, but then when he goes down like the darker path, I was so upset. I was like, come on, man. Like you were like you're just sabotaging your own life at this point. Like it really upset me because I liked him so much. But yeah, that show's really good. But that's pretty much it for me.
Are you gonna jump into season 2?
Yeah, I'll absolutely jump into season 2. But you said that it's like an anthology type thing, right? Like the cast shifts. It's like new guests.
What's her name's the only holdover. The what's her name? She's won all the awards. The Stifler's mom from American Pie.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. But
Jennifer Coolidge.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Right.
Yeah, she's the only character who holds over.
Okay.
And just like I'm assuming every season's going to take place at another, because it's supposed to be like Hilton or whatever that has properties all across the world.
So it's a different White Lotus even. Like it's not even the same staff in the next one.
Oh no, it's in Italy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, real different. All right.
Yeah, people are like, there's like theories of like, where's the third season going to take place? Someone's like, fancy ski chalet. I'm like, that'd be cool. I'll watch some skiing.
It's really not about like the location though, right? It's about the insane people.
Insane things that happen. Yeah, I mean, the show only existed because like HBO was like, it's the pandemic. We need to be able to film something with a small amount of characters in a very controlled, enclosed environment. And that's how they got that.
Nice. That does it for me. Jesse? Kat? Either you want to share anything?
Oh, okay, go ahead. No, you can go, Jesse.
You can go.
Okay, I have music-wise, I've really been on a Coldplay kick lately, like just listening to their old stuff.
I need to do
X and Y is probably my favorite Coldplay album. I think it's one of the few albums that I can listen to start to finish without any skips. So music-wise, I've just really been on a Coldplay kick lately. Anime, I'm revisiting my teenage, adolescent years, and I'm rewatching a lot of rom-coms. I don't know if anyone's heard of one called Toradora.
I don't think that's what I'm thinking of. That's not the one with like the boy who has like a tiger demon hanging out with him, right?
No,
I was thinking the tiger demon. Yeah,
the girl actually. It's funny that you say that. Toradora is about a girl. She is like really, really rich, but her parents just don't really care about her, so they put her up in like this really nice apartment by herself. But it's right across from like a really like jacked up apartment where this boy is poor, but he's a really good cook and he cleans a lot. So they are classmates, and it's basically about like their friendship and how it evolves into like a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But she's actually called Palm Top Tiger, which like she's like a deep, like she's really feisty. So it's actually pretty funny that you said that.
'Cause I think that's what that means. I think Tora is tiger in Japanese.
Well, fun fact for everyone.
I think I could be very wrong.
So the movie Tora is just tiger.
That makes sense. That would check out.
Okay.
Yeah, Honey Money confirms Tora is tiger in Japanese.
Okay, cool. So I've been rewatching that, and then also there is a manga that I started reading when I was in junior high called Love Hina.
Yeah, I've heard that name a ton, but yes. I've never watched the show.
Love Hina. I've read the manga, so I'm rewatching the anime, Choi Bits, Fruit Basket. I'm going through like my adolescent years in anime.
Those are all like big 90s series or
like
2000s
late 90s, early 2000s.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
those would always show up on lists of like, oh, you should watch these anime. But then I'd look at them and be like, I don't want to watch these.
So yeah, anime-wise, I'm just going through that. And then, like Marty was saying earlier, the part 1 of part 3, the final season of Attack on Titan came out, but I just haven't watched it yet. So Aaron's the bad guy, guys. I'm sorry to tell you all that. And if everyone watching the stream, he's the bad guy. But a lot of people on Twitter, which is really interesting, a lot of people on Twitter are like, that I've watched it, are like defending him, but it's really interesting.
It's that whole he's the
He's like the
protagonist.
Thanos. He's like Thanos of Attack on Titan right now. So it's
people are still watching Last of Us and they're like, Joel's a good guy, but Joel's not a good guy. Joel's a bad man. He's a bad man. He has everything coming to him.
Yeah, it's all in the post Breaking Bad world where like your main character is the bad guy, and folks just can't seem to wrap their head around that.
And I think it's it's because of, obviously, if you've watched Attack on Titan or done a recap or seen from like the beginning who Aaron was and how he was and why he became part of the Survey Corps, to see him go from that and then it just basically evolves into him saying, I'm taking everybody out. It's like people are like, no, he's just misunderstood and you don't understand what he's been through and all these other things.
I don't think that excuse works when it comes to genocide on a global level.
It doesn't excuse genocide. Like, I'm sorry. Like, so I'm probably take a look at that. And then I have not, this is actually kind of old, but I've heard so many bad things about the second season of Promised Neverland. So I never watched it, but I think I'm going to give it a try. I think I'm finally going to give it a try.
Yeah, do it for science.
So gaming wise, Marty inspired me because I watched him on stream. He had played through Resident Evil 4 and then seeing all the stuff for the Resident Evil 4 remake, I started replaying through it on my PS4.
Yes.
Oh.
So it made me, and Marty had said this on a stream the other day, it made me really realize how much I enjoyed it as a kid, like playing it, when it was 2-disc on the GameCube and I didn't when it was 2-disc on the GameCube and I had to save it to my little memory card. It made me really realize how much I enjoy it. So I'm hoping that I enjoy the remake just as much. So some of the gameplay that I've seen on Twitter, it looks really, really good.
It looks unreasonably good.
Yeah, it does.
The newest stuff they finally showed all the weird shit, which I'm very excited.
You were waiting on that.
Like, everyone was kind of worried that like it was just gonna be like real spooky and realistic. Which
and it's super gory. Like there's a lot of there's one gameplay footage that they showed on I forgot what Twitter it was, but it's like they're walking into like a chapel or they're walking into a room and Ashley was like, "What is that?" And it's a zealot and he turns into like the thing and he's like, give me some space.
Buggies.
Yeah, and it like grabs him and you just see all like this blood and stuff. So I'm really interested is the potato sack guys. I'm really interested to see them in the Resident Evil 4 remake. So
those guys are too scary. They were scary in like 2004.
They really were. They really were. So I'm playing through that right now. Obviously, my grind for Tekken God continues.
I've been seeing the clips you've been posting about like these crazy comebacks.
Oh man, these people could breathe on me and I would be finished. Like it's like I go into fight or flight mode.
You're like, no, it's really exciting to watch.
So I'm doing that, and then I'm actually gonna. There's a really cool Discord, and they're called Girls Got a Game, and it's like a huge game community for women, and they're actually holding a bunch of tournaments for Women's History Month. Women's History Month. So they're doing actually a Tekken tournament. Nice. So I'm gonna enter that and see what happens. But
good luck. When is that? Is that going to be like shown anywhere, or is it like internal?
Yeah, I'll post it in the Discord, the Open Party Discord too, and I'll put it on my Twitter.
All right, nice.
But I think they're probably gonna stream it from their Twitch. Because I know when they did a Apex invitation, they streamed it from their Twitch, and there were multiple matches going on. But I guess the way they did it is they would go to like different matches. They would show like the different matches from like one central point. So it was pretty cool. Other than that, TV wise, I think we kind of talked about this before. So I'm not really into like new TV shows. Like I'm a creature of habit, so I just keep watching like the same things over and over again. But if people tell me like, "Hey, you should really watch this," I'll give it a try. Like that's how I got into like Euphoria. But yeah, other than that, I have not watched Last of Us yet. So people keep telling me you need to watch it. So, but other than that, that's
you don't need to watch it. But it's a good show.
And my Animal Crossing addiction continues. Tom the Crook Nook is still pinching me for bells. He's pinching me for bells, and I I keep going back. I just got a house loan for 2 million bells for a basement. What is wrong with me? How am I in debt in a video game? This makes no sense to me. I gotta go and pay my little
wants to be.
pay my little bells and my little kiosks so I can pay down my loan. It's ridiculous. But other than that,
Nice.
And I've noticed that a lot of people have been getting into Street Fighter all of a sudden because I think a couple of weeks ago the Capcom Cup, it was like a $2 million pool, and people were like just going bonkers over it. So I've seen a lot of more stuff on my feed. Algorithms are funny like that, but I've seen a lot of stuff on my feed about like Tekken 6 and how people are getting like Street Fighter 6. People are getting like really, really excited for it.
Yeah.
Tekken 8 looks really, really good. They've been doing like the character reveals. I think at Evo Japan, I'm hoping that they reveal Ling Xiaoyu because that's who I played with in Tekken. So that's my main, that's my girl. So, but other than that, that's about it for me.
Yeah, it's a big year for fighting games.
It really is.
New Tekken, new Street Fighter, new Mortal Kombat.
Guilty Gear Strive just dropped on Game Pass.
Game Pass?
Yeah.
Ooh, now I have to play it. I got Game Pass for a few months.
Speaking of new games, there was a game I saw. It's by Solai and the 101 publishers. They did Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive. They came out with a game called Wanted Dead.
Oh yeah.
Casey's the world's #1 fan.
That game, so like I was like, oh, this looks interesting, and then I was in a group chat with my friends, and he was playing it. And I was like, hey, can you play share it so I can watch you? That game is atrocious. Oh my god, that game is horrible.
Would you say it's a hidden gem?
No, absolutely not.
Listen,
absolutely.
Kat, listen.
So, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So I was like, cool. I was like, my friend, I was like, wait, how much was this? So like when he was playing, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. They charged people $59.99 for that game. That is insane.
Yukina, they sent me a hand grenade in the mail.
I
swear to God, they sent me the press kit for that game and it included a hand grenade in it. It wasn't a real hand grenade, but it was still very ominous.
Horrible voice acting, horrible cutscenes. They try to create this metaverse of going between video games and anime and all this other stuff. It is just ridiculous. So I was like, let me go look at some of the reviews. IGN gave it like 3 out of 10, and then Polygon, excuse my language, can I cuss? I'm sorry, but this is what it said, the most batshit game of 2023, which is true. Like they just came out the gate saying we're just gonna make the horrible. I'm sorry, Jesse, go ahead. I digress. That was just horrible.
I'll just say you got one guess, but one of the 3 people you're in this call with thinks it's going to be their game of the year.
No.
You gotta guess who.
Let's see. It's Sigma.
It is Sigma.
Yeah, that was quick. Yeah, it was.
Listen. I do not disagree with any critique that you have just levied at that game. All of it is true. It does not change the fact that game is incredible.
It looks gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. Like it's like a hack and slash. It kind of gave me like Metal Gear Solid Revengeance.
No,
vibes.
Absolutely. It is definitely challenging Kojima in that very like kind of self-aware meta commentary, trying to push the medium forward in a way, except it's not doing those things, but instead doing something else entirely, and no one knows what that thing is. But like that's like I really became endeared to that game because of that. Like I was just like you guys. I had to play this for review, mind you. I wrote a whole review about it. Check it out, 3MR. The beginning of my playtime with that game was not good. I was not having a good time. It was not favorable. I was very upset at how little it was trying to keep me engaged in the story. Like it made no sense whatsoever going from cutscene to cutscene. Nothing that was happening was making any sense. Once I finally understood that it was never going to make any sense, that it didn't want to make sense for some reason, I kind of let that part go, and it sort of washed over me just how crazy it was. Like, I got interested in just seeing how nonsensical it would get. Like, why are they talking about... Like, why are they talking about like food in the restaurant? Like, or they're talking about the doctor's talking about letting his squad leader die because he forgets to bring his medicine while they have a android handcuffed in the back of a truck or whatever. Like, they're talking about they're cops, mind you, and they're talking about I should have killed the suspect who I had to interview in the detention cell when I had the chance.
And the main is she Russian? Because that's a horrible voice.
I think all the staff is Swedish, and she's
a Swedish police officer
in Hong Kong. Yes, doesn't make any sense. Never explain why.
There was one cutscene where I guess she's like in the cafeteria of like the police station, and it's like for a good 45 seconds, it shows her. I think what they were trying to convey is that the food is really bad. Like,
yeah, I think that's what they wanted to convey.
That she was trying to eat. So she's like poking at like I guess a piece of sausage.
That's Jesse's favorite cutscene.
And like she's cutting at it, and then she picks up the Jello and goes like this. I'm just kind of like, this is, and then her voice, oh, I'm in trouble again. Like it reminded me of like Chinese kung fu theater. You've disgraced our family. Like that's literally what the voice acting reminded me of. Like it's just ridiculous. We can have a whole podcast about this game. Like it's really bad. It's horrible.
It is bad, but it's also really good, Kat.
I trust your judgment.
It's really good. It really is.
Casey did the review of it, and I watched it and was like, I want to play this game based on this review because I like things that are that wacky. So I don't like the game. I agree with you on that. Actually trying to play the game, I do not enjoy. But I love watching that game. I think it is a so bizarre. And the fact that there's karaoke with a rhythm game that's not to rhythm.
It's the worst karaoke.
That you can't skip.
They force you to finish the song. Even if you press no buttons, the song will play from beginning to end. Actually trying to play the game makes the karaoke worse. It sounds worse when you're hitting all the buttons.
I mean, isn't that like real karaoke? The best thing to do is remain silent and the song sounds good.
But like it's so bizarre that makes it endearing to me. Like the fact that it is, I don't know if they were. It's kind of what you were saying with like the graphics, where how good they look, and there are specific things about it that it is clear that there are people with talent on that game. Makes it so like I want to know more. Like I appreciate it, but I don't want to play it. But I do appreciate it. Like it's fascinating.
It is fascinating, and the thing is, like the fascination with like what could possibly happen next in this batshit insane story, got me to give enough time to understanding the actual gameplay loop. And then I found the gameplay loop to be extremely satisfying. Like I really actually like playing that game. Like when Jesse and I played it for 2 weeks straight on Hidden Gems. Jesse went first, and then I went the week after because Jesse got to like maybe 2 hours in, and that is not when the game clicks. 2 hours in, Jesse was like, okay, I don't know about this. So I started from that point and played another 2 hours, but basically on like a new game plus file. So I had all the upgrades, whatever, and I was just trying to show him like how fun the combat can be when you kind of know what you're doing and you have a feel for it. And we were just flying through levels. Like we got through, like Jesse only completed like the first level over that 2 hours, and we didn't even get to see the string cutscenes. But the next stream, we got through the second level, all the cutscenes. Well, the cutscenes from the tail end of the first level, all the cutscenes start in the second level, all the cutscenes after the second level, and then like about the first third of the nightclub afterwards. And
like when I was watching it, I'm sorry, Sam, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
You know that scene in Doctor Strange when he doesn't believe the Sorcerer Supreme at first, and then she puts her thumb on him and he goes through like this huge thing of that's literally how I felt watching this game, because I was just kind of like, what am I watching? I'm confused. Was there something in my tea? Like, what is going on? It just, I you know what? I get what you're saying, Sigma.
It takes you by surprise.
But
absolutely.
I did not know what I was looking at first. I really had to sit down and be like, okay, play share. All right. because I guess the play share was like 30 minutes. So it was like a train wreck I just could not look away from because the play share was like only 30 minutes. So I kept telling him, hey, keep sending me play share invites because I got to keep watching you play this. This is absolutely horrible. So that's hilarious. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm done. I digress.
Like I'm gonna say, like, if it doesn't seem like it will appeal to you, then by all means don't even bother with it because it probably won't. Like it's definitely not for everybody. But if you have any interest in this sort of nonsense, I think it can get to the point where you actually do love it, not just like it or tolerate it. Like if you have any inkling that this might be for you, give it like a solid try. Like don't leave after the first 2-3 hours. Just give it a solid try. I think it will catch you. Like I actually did love it. That's not my current game of the year. That's an over that's being overly dramatic. But I really did love that game. Oh crap. Was that all our
No, Jesse.
Oh no, Jesse.
Sorry. Yes, Jesse. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Jesse's also been playing Wanted Dead.
Technically, yes, we already talked about that. I've been playing Eternal Darkness on my channel.
Nice.
And what a good game. Like, holy cow. I'm like, that was a big thing, like the big cult classic. It was like the GameCube exclusive survival horror. And like it was a Silicon Knights game, which after that they tanked pretty hard with like 2 failures in a row, and then suing Epic, and then got sued by Epic, and like a lot of stuff.
Yep.
But like that game, I understand why people were really wanting like a spiritual successor to it and like a bunch of stuff. Like that is a good. I haven't finished it yet. It's a good game. It's got some good spookiness. Like the story's intriguing. I really like how like you play different people throughout time, all ending up working against like these elder god things. Like, and then things you learn as a previous person gets transferred through the book of Eternal Darkness. And then when someone touches it, they learn all the stuff that they had before that. So like every new character you have, once you get the book, you have all your old stuff, like all your old spells and like that kind of stuff. So it's really cool. It's super fun. I'm looking forward to finishing it, and I'll probably do a second playthrough to get footage, because when you start the game, you have to pick from one of 3 gods, and each god you choose changes the game some. So it's not the exact same experience every time. It's probably not a huge difference, but like it's a little bit, and that is pretty neat.
It's wild that game never is locked on the GameCube.
Yeah, that's a thing that I want to talk about when I do a video on it, is like game preservation and stuff like that, where it's like it's stuck there. Like there's no ports, there's no nothing. Like my friend Blight, who loves that game, let me borrow his copy, and I'm playing it on my Wii. And the only reason I can play this game, other than like just downloading emulator, is because I have a Wii that still works, and I have a copy of that game from someone else. Because like, that's stupid. You should be able to play a good game because you just want to play it. What?
No, like you should be able to access that. Part of it is because of, like you said, Silicon Knights kind of tanked after that. Like that was that like the only original IP they had that was successful? Like, because other than that, they were doing like a bunch of like remakes and stuff, right?
No, because they did Legacy of Kain.
Right.
So that was another original property. But yeah, after that they did an X-Men game, and then the 2 Human, which was also original.
Yeah, and Twin Snakes.
That one was not.
They did do Twin Snakes. That's right.
Yeah, they did.
They had that. I think they had like a joint deal on GameCube for both those games. Yeah, Eternal Darkness is weird because like Nintendo published it. Like Miyamoto's a producer on it, so
yeah,
I would imagine Nintendo has final say of if they wanted to port it. Like I don't think they have to like get fucking Dennis Dyak's permission.
And charge $50 for a game that came out. Yeah, that's Nintendo, all right.
Well, but at least you'd be able to play it.
It seemed like Dennis Dyack kind of burned a lot of bridges on his way, like on the tail end of like the 2 Human situation. So like if Nintendo has to deal with him in any capacity, they probably would just prefer not to. Like it's probably not worth it to them to be like, all right, yeah, this game was good, but they don't want to like have to send him contracts or have him, talk in the press about anything, whatever, because he's been a little inflammatory in the past. So that kind of sucks.
Oh, tea.
Yeah, it seems like a bad situation.
He was supposed to be working on a spiritual successor to Legacy of Kain. He actually showed it off at a past escapist indie showcase.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I've just never heard anything from it since. I don't know what happened to that game or that man. So there's that.
All right, so I'm going to drop some more nerd cred before I drop the bomb here about how lame I am. I've been playing Bayonetta 2 with my partner. Fantastic game. Absolutely love it. Possibly even better than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. I played Undead Horde, game where you get to be a necromancer. Cool. All right, stop playing it after a couple hours. Beat God of War 2 with Casey.
Yeah.
How do you think it held up to God of War 1?
The combat's better. Absolutely. I think I mentioned this at the end of the stream. The beginning of the story, where you're learning about the Titans, and the end of the story, where like you're dealing with the gods, are both really good. But that whole middle section is like, it feels like pretty much nothing gets done.
Yeah, like there's not a lot actually happening in the story.
It's like cool gameplay, but not really like
the gameplay's better than one.
Yeah,
they took that and ran with it, and it was good. Like I like the gameplay a lot more than one, but the story of one as a whole is better. But I really like the story, the bookends of the story of 2. Mm-hmm. That's like those 2 parts are on par with the story of 1. Maybe even better. I read Cold Spots, which is a comic about ghosts. Well, it's not about ghosts, but ghosts are in it. We're doing a book club, a comic book club over in the Tyrannosaurus Discord. So that's the first one we did.
Okay.
So like I'm doing nerdy stuff, I promise. But
I am so
like where is this
curious
turn?
where we're about to go. You can talk about doing your taxes or something?
No. I don't know how it started, but have y'all watched that new Night Court show?
No.
It's with the girl from Big Bang, right?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
It's really good, and I've been watching that, and it's really funny, and it's super lame. It's very pedestrian.
Is it on Peacock?
It's on
Hulu?
Peacock. It's probably on NBC too, but like I mean I own a TV, but I don't have if someone was like, watch ABC live right now, I wouldn't be able to do it. I don't know how to access.
Wait, can you
live
just
TV
put on
anymore.
the channel?
Yeah, you should be able to just get that.
Don't most TVs have like internal antennas to get local channels? Pretty sure. Like I watch sports on my TV, and I just like say channel 5, and then NBC comes up. Oh.
That's how long it's been since I've watched TV.
Damn, you just don't even know how it works anymore.
I don't.
Does your remote have a 5 on it?
No, it has no numbers. There are no numerical values on my remote.
But it's got a Night Court button, let me tell you. I hit this Night Court button, and they get all sorts of scrapes and scraps in that court.
Like I actually read I'm sorry, I read an article that was comparing a bunch of like remakes that aired, and that Night Court was the only good one. It was like Night Court, Velma, and something that I cannot remember. But like they were saying Night Court was the only one that seemed to that 90s show. They were saying Night Court was the only one that really nailed it in terms of like bringing a thing from the past into the present in like a meaningful way, which I disagree with because I like both of Velma and that 90s show.
Maybe you'll love Night Court. Imagine how much you'd love Night Court.
I don't know. I've never watched the original one. That's the thing.
It was pretty funny. It's pretty funny. I like the original one. I haven't seen the new one though, so I'll have to take a look at it.
Yeah, I've never seen the original. But
so
like,
what's the deal? It's like court at like
it's just like
court at night.
Night Court.
Yeah, it's courts at night. It's
the shenanigans that happen.
Yeah.
Well, I work in the legal system, and where I work, no, we do not have court at night. But
I don't think that's real, is it?
Maybe in other places, but I know for us, no, we do not hold. The court does not hold any type of hearings or trials.
Very much like
you
a
gotta
9
think
to
about
5
that.
thing.
Like court is like a government institution, and you're telling me the government is working over like at nighttime? No, that's not.
Yeah, like my Walgreens is 24
in the military
hours.
did.
That's true. I guess the military isn't like, well, time to clock out.
Nah, bro, you go home. You go home when we say you go home. That's pretty much what it's like in the military.
So Night Court doesn't have anything to do with the Court of the Owls.
No, it does not. There is an episode where they have a pigeon infestation, because it's all about like it's at the night, so it's like the courts that like is the joke cases. Like you're at the night court because like it's the pitch being like that's where all the weird cases are, and like no like there's not as many custodians, and there's like you're just at a different time of day when no one cares about what's happening there. Like 9 to 5 is when court matters, and then after that, you're on your
That's
own.
actually a really interesting premise. I didn't realize that that's kind of what they were going for.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of like really silly stuff that they do, and like silly cases, and like conflicting personalities, and like you have that underdog thing of like we're holding it together right now and nobody cares about us. But it's very charming. All the characters are like really bring something unique to the dynamic, and they do a really good job of making sure no matter which characters are on screen, they pair well with each other. So like the super optimistic judge and the like real grumpy lawyer, like they always have something together. But then like the super grumpy lawyer and the like I can't believe I'm here, I'm better than this lawyer also have a good pairing. And then like everybody has a way to bounce off of each other.
Oh, Night Court.
Classic Night Court.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And there's only like 9 episodes out so far, and I watched them all.
Lampy in the chat asking, are the characters actual characters, Jesse?
I don't know what that means. Did I say the characters are characters or something?
I don't
probably
know.
Did.
I don't know. I thought that
Oh,
might
the
mean
characters,
something to you.
they are actual characters, as in like Goofy. And
Oh,
Wacky.
what a character.
Yeah, what a character. Yeah, they are actual characters. They're all like a little too whatever they are, and that makes everybody like that, so they all fit together well.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if the second season took a hard turn and like a really serious case Night Court had to take?
Night Court.
Like
And
a
if
murder.
Docket 145, double homicide.
Like it's a
Felon in
murder,
possession
but it
of a
was
firearm.
it was by
It's
like
suddenly-
a vampire. So so like we can't have this in the day.
Yeah. We can't have this during the day.
Like our witness would just burst into flames.
Look, I would love that.
That sounds even. I'm gonna be honest. That might get me into Night Court.
Yeah, that sounds even better. I was gonna say like, oh, it takes a turn like Perry Mason on HBO or something, but no, the vampire show.
That show got so dark. Oh my god.
I loved it though. I thought that was
It was great.
show.
That's come back. Season 2 starts, I think, in a week. Today.
Oh yeah.
A week.
Oh, I'm stoked. That was a really good show.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Night Court, what we do in the shadows. Yes, please. I love what we do in
That
the
sounds like a
shadows.
great idea. They kind of did that. They had an episode where there was like some sort of like tribunal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's where they had all the
vampire
different, like
council.
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes was there
Yeah.
as a daywalker.
Yeah.
That show is so.
That show was so good. Okay, does that wrap things up for you, Jesse?
I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah. All right, because we do got a little bit of news to get to. First up, Square Enix's CEO, who goes by the name, I'm going to look it up right now.
Yosuke Matsuda.
There you go. Yosuke Matsuda is stepping down. He's been in power for quite a while. He basically oversaw the sale of the Tomb Raider studio, Eidos?
Square Enix.
Crystal
No,
Dynamics.
Eidos.
Crystal
Eidos,
Dynamics.
sorry, yeah. Eidos.
And Eidos.
And then Eidos,
all their
who does
Western studios,
Hitman,
yeah.
yeah. So all the Western-based studios, he oversaw their sale for what a lot of people considered kind of a paltry $300 million. Like he really kind of bargain basement got rid of them. Then basically announced to the world that they were going to invest heavily into crypto, which after we started to see some of the failings of those sort of ventures, he kind of doubled down on. He's like, oh no, we're still very much going to be crypto bros. And we've really not seen anything come of that.
Did you say crypto bros?
Crypto bros, yes.
Yeah.
that is a real thing.
I'm
They're
sorry.
all over the internet.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was like, wait, what? I'm sorry.
I got a message on Discord from a crypto bro the other day.
Yeah. They be
Yes.
sending me random ass WhatsApp messages like, hey, come to our crypto investing group. I'm like, no. How did you get this number?
You should say, fucking meet me in Night Court.
So like kind of like Square Enix has been in kind of a weird place for a long time, but like it has seemed in recent years that they've been making a lot of just really bad decisions. And of course, the CEO should be the one to blame for such a thing. So he is stepping down. They didn't say that he was like outright fired, but I can imagine like they were not happy with some of his decision making. So he'll be replaced by Takeshi Kiryu, who was currently the chief strategy officer. But my question really is, do we see kind of a shift? Because the CEO does kind of hold a lot of the sway in terms of like the direction that companies move in, right? Like we saw like a very visible change to the entire feeling of Xbox once Phil Spencer became head, right? Like he really just changed the entire feeling of that company, honestly, like almost overnight. I want to say, like it took a while for like people to catch up, but Phil was like making changes like from day one. With new leadership at Square Enix, do we think that there's a chance that they can shift to kind of a better place, or is Square Enix a company that might be on its last legs just in general? Like say if Final Fantasy 16 that's around the horizon doesn't do as well as they need it to, like are they going to be in trouble even with this leadership change?
Look, if Konami can bounce back, anybody
have they
can.
bounced back?
I mean,
They got,
they're
like,
announcing games.
Shade, Sigma, shade.
They got
saying.
6 new Silent Hill games coming out.
Coming out,
They're
not
out yet.
Yeah, they've not come out yet.
Yeah, to me, it's like if it's a bouncy ball, we're at the point where the ball has made contact with the ground, and we'll see if it actually bounces.
Like it just thuds and stays.
Yeah.
So, like, something's gonna happen one way or another.
Or the ground under it might just crack. And
Yeah, or it turns out the ball is not rubber at all, and it's just
Yeah.
gonna splat against
This
the
was a
ground.
bowling ball, and now we have a hole.
And it does not bounce. I hope so, because aside from
I
Nintendo,
agree.
Square is probably my favorite video game developer ever. And they're such a frustrating company because they've done in the last few years they've done a lot of games that I've really fucking liked. Like I think Final Fantasy VII Remake is one of the most interesting projects that's currently ongoing in games. I loved last year's Live Alive. I really loved Fiat Rhythm this year. I like what they're doing by sort of like re-energizing classic franchises, whether it's the Mana games or Saga Frontier or Chrono Cross. But then at the same time, they've invested heavily in stuff like Babylon's Fall and Balan Wonderworld and Forspoken and the Avengers and like
Those
some
are
of like
great.
some of the biggest flops of the last couple of years by like beloved creators.
And by what you would assume are like can't fail franchises like Marvel.
Yeah, exactly. And fucking like Yuji Naga's going to jail for that. Not for them, but like because of them.
In relation, because Yuji Naka worked for Square Enix, he is now going to jail. Like that's just facts.
You know where we can solve his problems?
Night Court.
Wait, he's going. What about going to jail?
Insider trading.
Yuji Naka did insider trading because he got all sorts of info on what Square was working on, and then bought a bunch of stocks. Yeah, he's going to Night Court.
He's definitely going to Night Court for sure.
Yeah, wait a minute, if it's our Night Court and it's day in Japan, how does that work? Day court? Like, I don't know how this works.
And in a multiverse, there's a Night Court in Japan. The exact same show. Just
it's in like a pocket universe where it's always night. Yeah.
Yes.
And then Square also releases just a shit ton of like really weird and forgettable stuff. Like last year they had that Dealfield Chronicles, which didn't you guys play? Like
we played and it was
very
middling.
Yeah, they did that like Harvestella. There was like Valkyria, Elysium. There was a Star Ocean game. Just like a bunch of shit that like makes no noise when it absolutely hits.
Yeah.
But like they have like a really interesting, hopefully good lineup going forward of heavy hitters with Final Fantasy 16, which is sort of just on the cusp of releasing the part 2 of Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Dragon Quest 12,
Have we
Kingdom
seen
Hearts 4.
anything of part 2 of Final Fantasy 7 Remake?
They showed a brief trailer and then they named it Rebirth. I think they're going with remake, rebirth, and then the third game is going to be another re. So like,
wait, they're cutting it into 3.
Yes, they've announced 3.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So Remake was a subtitle and not just what it was?
Yes. So in theory, it's Final Fantasy VII Part 1 is called Remake, and then it's going to be Rebirth, and then they have something else called Reunion. Could be Reborn. Yeah. Yeah. It's all very confusing. But I hope
like
those
Matrix
games are good.
Subtitles, actually.
It is absolutely like Matrix. The Anna Final Fantasy. So yeah, I hope that this is sort of them getting away from that blockchain NFT nonsense, because that's gone.
Yeah,
I don't need
not
that
getting
anyway.
away from it. I'll put money down that they're still investing. Like, that's something I feel like they probably put enough money into that it's not a matter of like, oh, we're just gonna pivot from this. They might, not focus on it as hard, but they are still doing that avenue.
But like, in what way? Because like we saw Ubisoft say like we have what's the name, Quartz, that was going to be attached to the Ghost Recon stuff.
Yeah,
they moved away from that because it did not work. There was someone else who announced how the NFT thing was like an actual plan for it, which also didn't work. Like, I feel like Square Enix said that they would invest into NFTs and crypto and stuff, but there was just no information.
There was no concrete. Yeah.
So like, in what way did they invest? Like, did they actually even invest? I don't know.
I also don't know I don't know what like the Japanese response to NFTs and blockchain stuff is. Like, I don't know if people there are sort of as like quick to like say fuck off as a lot of folks in America are. Also, the other thing I love about Matsuda is he's a secret boss in Nier Automata. There's a fighting arena in Nier Automata, and you could ask to fight the boss, and the character will say, "Are you sure? Because this might break your immersion." And then I think your response is literally immersion, shmimmersion, and then you go and fight them, and then you go and fight this dude.
And he's like in a suit. I remember seeing footage.
It's just a dude. It's just a salaryman.
A man in a suit.
Yeah. But yeah, I hope the future's bright for Square, because selling off all their Western studios for what I felt was a paltry $300 million, especially to Embracer, because man, I don't trust Embracer. I don't know what's going on there. They want to make more Lord of the Rings movies. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing, Embracer? Where do you get all your money from?
Yeah, what is that? Yeah, Embracer seems to kind of come out of nowhere and just gobble up a big chunk of video games. It's weird.
How do you not trust a group that's made up of bankrupt video game publishers and developers? I don't understand.
Oh, the sarcasm in your voice, Justin.
It's like the Island of Misfit Toys from the Rudolph. Like, it's a whole bunch of like broken water guns and Jack in the Boxes.
Yeah, I really hope. I'm sorry, Jesse. Were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say it's a who's who of Chapter 11, but now you.
Sigma, it's really interesting because I never really, being on your podcast and being on here and chatting with everyone, I've never really looked at like the business aspect of video games until recently. So probably over the last few years, like the last year or so, and then since being on your podcast, it's really made me look to that side of video games. But I really do hope that Square Enix bounces back from it, because I grew up in Japan between 96 and 2001. So that was like a really big time for video games. Like a huge transition. So Square Enix is a really big part of my childhood. So is Konami, because like, Chrono Trigger and Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy, obviously. So I guess for nostalgic or for sentimental reasons, I really do hope that Square Enix can bounce back from this, because they're a big part of why I got into video games in the first place.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably feel the same way, right? Like the same thing with Konami, right? It's like you want those franchises that you love to thrive, and like you hate to see kind of what they've become or what they've been relegated to by today's standards. So like, yeah, I'm also rooting for them. Like, I do hope that this marks a significant change in how they're approaching some of their stuff. But yeah, a lot of damage has already been done to the company as a whole because of some of these past decisions. But I think that's why he's being ousted after all this time finally, because like I think they probably have just finally had enough. Like, there's probably some Succession-esque story in the background of how they finally figured out how to get rid of him, because like that kind of thing can be very tricky in like the corporate world.
Yeah.
Because I assume like it couldn't have been everyone who was on board with some of these decisions. Like, I'm sure a lot of the devs were like, why are we investing or talking about investing in NFT? Like, or why are you selling the Tomb Raider franchise? Like, one of the most bankable, recognizable, IPs in video games. We own it right now, and you want to sell it for half, and
pennies,
you want to save it for the same price as the other studio that makes Hitman, which isn't. Hitman is not at the same level of Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
but like, it's just very wild decisions. I was always assuming that Matsuda probably had like just a boner for Sony and really just wanted Sony to buy Square Enix. Like they specifically make exclusives for Sony without Sony having to pay them. Like they'll just make a game that doesn't go on any other platform other than Sony platforms, and then like they'll actively wait or ignore like the Xbox platform, seemingly to be on Sony's good side. And then like they sell off Western studios, like, hey, you don't have to deal with those bros. We're all Japanese over here, Sony. How does it look now? And Sony just doesn't care. Sony does not want to buy Square Enix.
As all of Sony's big studios are now Western and it's being run
so
by
is that
Herman Hulst.
anything now too, Sigma? The Japanese Square Enix bros? Is that
a lot of bros? There's just a lot of bros out there.
A lot of bros out there. Oh my goodness.
Like maybe with a new head, Square Enix will finally have some self-respect. Like that's what I'm getting at here.
Yeah.
Like rather than chasing Sony's tail, like maybe they'll want to make something of themselves.
I mean, there has been scuttlebutt of Sony possibly being interested in purchasing them, or even like before the Activision Blizzard thing of like Microsoft, because Microsoft's always sort of tried to be like, we need to get a foothold in Japan.
Yeah, like they court them heavily.
Yeah.
They night court
so
that was that's a very interesting. That is a very interesting way to describe that, Sigma. They're courting them.
Yeah,
very, very interesting.
And again, that was a campaign that started with Phil Spencer. So like he was like, hey, as of right now, Xbox is way too Western focused. We suck at appealing to anyone in Japan. Let's try to fix that. He went and made a bunch of deals with a bunch of Japanese studios, and like he tries to get meetings, and a lot of them just say, no, bro, we don't, we're not interested. But I mean, he still tries, and that's because he's the leader, and that's what he wants.
That's all that matters. Kojima will take a meeting with anyone.
He sure will.
As long as he can put them in his soul catcher.
Right. He's just catching Pokemon, that man. But okay, anything else on this before we move on to our final topic?
I think I agree with what you're saying. Is that you hope they bounce back. Like you hope that good things come out of it. I mean, I also want to be like, yeah, sell off your things. Don't be such a large company. That's good. But they're selling it to Embracer Group, so it's just shuffling from one giant company to another.
Yeah.
So like that part, no silver lining there. But yeah, like they've got a history in video games, and yeah, I hope that they, for the sake of developers and video games as art, like that they continue and that they manage to make some good things out of this turn.
And we have seen bounce backs like Capcom's been pretty in the past has been down on their luck and are now like Resident Evil's in a great place and Street Fighter's in a great place and Monster Hunter's one of the best selling games every year. And so it would be very cool to see like Jesse's saying, the kind of holding pattern Konami's in, to see what they do, especially if they give the same kind of treatment that they're giving Silent Hill to Metal Gear and Castlevania. And then it'd be cool to see Square bounce back as well.
Interesting tidbit about myself. I don't think I've ever said this to anyone, but I actually applied for a job at Square Enix like years ago in California. Yeah, more on the admin side. Obviously not the game developer side, but it was more like on the administrative side of stuff. But yeah, I had applied to one a few years ago. So I really do hope that they come out of this unscathed.
Maybe they're looking for a CEO. You should apply. No, I think they said the next guy.
Can you imagine? I'll be on the podcast that we have the new CEO of Square Enix, Katrina Cromwell.
Yeah, the job he's leaving is going to be vacant. So yeah, you can be
there you go.
The next in line.
I'll take a shot. No type of experience whatsoever. I'm gonna go for the gusto.
There you go.
It's all right. On that note, we'll move to our final topic here. A couple of stories came out about some more info regarding Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard King.
That's a tongue twister.
That is hard to say.
One that I found very interesting, a couple of folks were commenting about this on Twitter, is that Microsoft sent a subpoena that has been honored by the judge in the case that says Sony has to divulge information regarding their deals in terms of like exclusivity and deals that may prove that they have paid developers not to put games on Game Pass. So like, I don't know what you call that in like corporate terms, but it's essentially sabotage, right? Like if you're paying someone to not to not deal with another company like that, is that legal? I mean, it's probably not illegal, but it's also not, a good or well looked at business practice, right? Like I'll give you money to just not do business with my rival.
I mean, is that any? It doesn't feel that different than paying for exclusivity, though, right? Like it's getting the same result, but from a different angle.
Yeah. When you say it that way, you're right, but it's definitely way more sketchy, though.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead, Jesse.
I was gonna say, because that's like, I was just watching a thing about Babylon 5, and they were talking
Babylon
about like
5.
that's what Paramount did when they made DS9. That was coming out at the same time, and they were telling networks like, "Hey, if you play Babylon 5, we won't let you air DS9," because they were like syndicating and stuff like that. So yeah, that totally happens. As people say, do this or else. And it's basically a matter of like, if you have the clout and money to throw around,
right?
Like your reputation is enough.
So it may not be. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Jump in.
It may not be, like you said. Is it even legal? Is it even legal to do that? It may not be illegal, but it may not. If that stuff comes out because of that subpoena, it may not be in their favor what the judge decides. If he looks at if I'm making any sense, like. It may not be illegal, but it may prove their point of what they're doing. So,
and it would hurt Sony's claims of trying to say that Microsoft acquiring Activision would be hostile to their business. If there is proof that you've been doing this shit for decades, like
you can do that. Like, sure, you can do that. It's not illegal, but when it comes to light, it's just not going to be in Sony's favor, and the judge may be like, "Okay, I got it now."
I really hope bunch of weird shit comes out from this. Like I want to know all sorts of weird corporate laundry and like how much money are you paying for Forspoken? You're paying nothing for Forspoken? Like what's going on here?
Yeah, because there's like two outcomes from this, I believe, right? There's Sony gives out the documents and we get to see the stuff, or Sony drops the suit entirely.
Yeah.
Sony goes, all right, well, fine. Let them do whatever they want to do because they don't want to muddy their name. Because this could have a serious backlash on Sony, not just in this particular case, but because other developers or publishers who maybe have not gotten these sorts of deals or aren't aware of these sorts of deals would look at that unfavorably. Be like, oh, that's really shitty. Like that Sony would do that. Like, so let's not work with them in the future.
Yeah.
And if they drop the case entirely, that's just going to make them look bad either.
It will, yeah.
Either way, because it's just going to be like, what do you have to hide? Like, what do you...
Activision, regardless of how this goes, Activision's not a fan of Sony at this point. Like, if their acquisition doesn't go through, like Activision's gonna be like, oh, fuck
they're
that
not
guy.
Gonna want to be. Yeah, they're not gonna want to deal with Sony anyway. And that's what Sony has been doing up until this point is paying for deals with Activision to get like exclusive shit in Call of Duty. When Activision was publishing Destiny, they were paying for exclusive stuff in Destiny.
Oh yeah.
So like they've had a long-standing relationship. And like they don't want to share their toys, it seems like.
Yeah.
This whole Microsoft, Activision, Sony thing has been like, it's like a soap opera. Like from all the stuff that y'all have been like posting or Sigma's been putting, like it's like the soap opera of the gaming world. It's just been just been ongoing. It's pretty funny.
It's like a soap opera that's like fun to watch. It's not like this developer's treating their employees really shitty.
Yeah,
I mean Activision does, but
hey, Jesse.
But I mean at the very least, it's like you're watching a car crash where no one got hurt.
Yeah, it's like an action movie in that.
It's like G.I. Joe where they're all in the car and then they automatically get out split second before the car blows up. Like that's
exactly.
like
everybody's parachutes open, no problems.
Or it's like watching Night Court where like there's not.
I was gonna say Jesse Sony does like to Activision and Blizzard. I'll see you in Night Court.
Night Court.
Like, where do you think that the dealings of the Activision Blizzard case would qualify for Night Court because it's about video games?
It's funny. Earlier, you You did the thing I always do when I go to say Phil Spencer and I accidentally think
Say
Phil
Spectre,
Spector.
yeah.
You think that guy didn't have a night court case? He killed someone, so he's not a night court.
Oh man, yeah, he went to day court. That man is in prison.
Yeah, he absolutely went to day court. That was a 9 to 5 court.
Oh man.
Yeah, what do you when all the dust settles from this? Do you think this deal is going to go through?
I was very, very
Like
confident that it was going to go
Activision?
through. I'm sorry, Jesse. Go ahead.
Oh, I just to clarify, the Activision Blizzard
Correct,
Microsoft
yeah.
deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very confident that this was going to go through early on, and then like, as more and more opposition popped up, and I was hearing stories that actually one particular take on it really kind of shifted my perspective, and it was from Adam Conover, who does the show Adam Ruins Everything. Yeah. He basically just kind of gave a long thing on somebody's podcast, which I cannot remember, about how just monopolies in general are wrong and have always kind of just stifled innovation, period. And he gave a really good example at how when AT&T was about to be broken up via antitrust, they were saying like, oh, it's going to mess up telephone service for everybody if we can't do what we're doing. And almost as soon as they went like, that's nonsense, and they broke them up, the internet was invented. So it's like, okay, I can see why even in the video game space, which is a lot less important than, telephone and communication infrastructure, even in the video game space, if we do have more competition across the board, it can only breed innovation. Like that's always a good thing. Like even despite the fact that, Activision Blizzard is a shitty place to work and Microsoft has a potential to improve that somewhat, and we can finally get rid of Bobby Kotick from the video game world. Like those are all good things. But in the grander scheme of things, maybe if we do keep everything separate, we just get more innovation that helps in the long run. Like I get that. But this still seems, it's still an exciting prospect to have that library absorbed into Game Pass, which is already like the greatest value you can get as a person who really plays video games. Like I'm not saying that it's the right and true like holistic thing to do is to be like, okay, I want these big corporations to merge so that I can get more bang for my buck out of Game Pass. But there is a benefit to it in that regard. Like that, I don't want to say like that's worth it, but like if it's gonna happen anyway, I will take advantage of that benefit to me as an individual consumer.
But wouldn't you want that as a consumer? Like,
yeah, as a consumer, it is good news. I feel like. But
I guess I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
It's just that like, yeah, when you think about it on an individual level, like it's like, okay, this is good for me as a person who wants to get a bunch more stuff on Game Pass. But like if you step out of yourself and like maybe look at it from a very 50-foot view or something like that, you can be like, all right, well, what innovations have maybe been stifled or will not ever happen now in the timeline because there are all these companies that work for one company as opposed to competing against that company and trying to beat them at their own game. Like we just may never see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big problem when in the terms of monopolies are bad. If you have, your giant Square Enix, your giant whatever, and they're making, oh, well, we have the Tomb Raider IP and the Legacy of Kain and the whatever, and then one of those, oh, Avengers failed. Oh, well, that's a lot of money we expected to have. So here's 8 games we're now canceling.
Yeah.
Like, and that's happening because everybody's under that umbrella. And if they were separate companies, then it's like, oh, Avengers failed. Sucks for them. We're still making our game. Like, like it's yeah, having everything so centralized does stifle creativity. It does harm innovation, and it makes it harder for things to get done.
And I can see that because you'll have 2 separate developer A, developer B, they're going against each other. I'm going to put out the best product that I possibly can because I want to be better than this person. But like you said, it's just kind of like there's no competition, I guess. Like there's no. People think when people I think hear the word competition, they think it has a negative connotation to it. When competition can be a very healthy thing, it can be a very lucrative thing for all parties involved. So I think that I can definitely see what you gentlemen are saying, that it can definitely hinder us as consumers in the long run if we kind of step back and look like, actually, maybe that might be a good idea because, oh, great, I have all the stuff on Game Pass. And then fast forward 4 years later and these games that are coming out are just trash. So it's this kind of, I can definitely see what you gentlemen are saying for sure.
So, I mean, because again, I feel like the wheels for this have been turning. Like it does seem like this deal will go through, especially with the recent deals Microsoft has made or promises they've made in saying that Call of Duty in particular will have a 10-year deal on Nintendo, and like we've been offering a 10-year deal to Sony and they won't return our calls, etc. Like that stuff is making it seem like, all right, well, it won't be this big monopolistic entity that will stifle competition in the way we think of it, like maybe in other ways, but not in the way that we've been framing it, at least the people who've been opposing it. But if we did say, all right, well, monopolies are wrong in general, let's not let Microsoft make this deal, then what happens to Activision Blizzard? Because Bobby Kotick said if the deal doesn't go through, he's staying. Like almost as a threat.
Yeah.
Like what? Like are they just gonna keep moving as they have been, because they've been moving in a bad direction?
Well, but if they keep moving in a bad direction, they're going to sink themselves, or they're not going to make as much money as they want, and then, Kodak or whoever might get hoisted out because, well, the deal fell through. Well, we got to do something good, and then they're like, nah. So like,
I mean, that's
hey,
kind of what they say.
Bobby,
like for years, they'd be like, "Hey, Activision
money.
Blizzard, do something good," and Bobby Kotick's like, "No, I'm gonna donate to the Trump campaign."
Yeah.
But you never like. Oh, go ahead,
Go
Justin.
Go ahead.
So, like, you think if the deal doesn't go through, that gentleman stays, it may be something like, yeah, this dude's got to go. We can't go back to the way we were. Obviously, this deal didn't go through. Like, something has to change. Like, you never, like, I don't know. We'll just have to see it play out, I suppose, and see what happens.
Like the thing is, I think Bobby Kotick, like he is not just a CEO. Like he's on the board and owns a significant portion of that board. So not only does I think he have the support of the board, like the people who pay to keep Activision around and like the big shareholders, whatever, they don't have a problem with him being the CEO. Like it's everyone else that does. So it doesn't matter what we say. They don't care that we don't like Bobby Kotick, because Bobby Kotick and that group are like, we're fine with you, bro. Like you make us a lot of money.
Right. But if he stops making them a lot
I was
of money,
just about to say that. Look,
Okay.
like when you mess with people's money, you mess with people's emotions. And if this deal doesn't go through and they start losing money, then they may have a completely different tune to that man than they do now.
That's a possibility.
Look, is like
Sigma's face was like, not likely, but it's a possibility.
No,
I mean, if you're making
it's-
Call of Duty every year, is it
Yeah.
possible to lose money though? Like
You're right. If they do start to lose money, then his cachet will definitely decline. But despite all of the BS that has been going on, like Kotick as the CEO has continued to make them money, and that's why he's so hard to get rid of. Because as terrible of a human being as he seems to be, he is good at that job. If that job is to make that publisher money. Like that's why they keep giving him bonuses. That's why they don't want him to go anywhere else, is because he's good at doing exactly that. Even if everything else around him is suffering for it. So he like maybe over time it'll start to degrade, but like how long will that be? 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20? Like he's been at the head of that company for a very long time. He knows what he's doing. That's all I'm saying.
Is he the type of loved by few, hated by many type of guy? Is that
I don't know.
him?
I don't know who loves him, but
probably the board members
the
who were
board, yeah,
making
you're right.
money hands over fist.
they don't like him, but they like what he does. So
There we go.
Sure.
That's a very good way to put it.
they're not going to invite him to their.
Yeah.
Clearly not.
They will get paid by him. So hey,
They'll invite Beyonce, pay her like $10 million.
what?
I don't know. That's a whole.
You
other...
can invite Beyonce to your birthday party for $10 million?
She did a show in Dubai for 24 million. Was it 24 million?
It was some ridiculous number, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. $24 million. Yeah.
Yeah, this
a
was
few
not
weeks
that
ago.
long ago.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't need that money.
but she doesn't not need that money, right?
Dubai, Abu Dhabi, they got money like you would not imagine over there. It's ridiculous. They paid like $24 million for her to come and do like an actual concert.
Beyonce.
Can we eat the rich yet? Like, can we?
Not
seriously?
Beyonce.
Yeah,
Keep Beyonce.
I just want to.
No, we should eat Beyonce too. I'm
I
sorry.
just want a PC that doesn't crash. Like, can someone
just ask Beyonce.
Yeah, that's Beyonce.
Make a wish?
She might get through. She might come through for you. Anything else on this particular topic before we wrap up the show?
I'd say for the Sony stuff, the having to show their hand as you mentioned. I hope they do. Like I hope that they make them, show where their dealings are, and that has to come to light too, because I feel like corporate dealings should not be as hidden as they are. They should have them be, like more transparent. So
well, also it'd be nice for everyone to just like the weird section of people online who like go to bat for one corporation against another corporation. I just want everyone to realize all corporations are bad. Like,
yeah,
they're all bad, and they all just want money. None of them are out for you. And I think the faster everyone realizes that, the better it is for everyone. That being said, I do want all my games to come to Game Pass. And people in chat were talking about how it's fake crossplay, and as someone who doesn't give a shit about multiplayer games, whatever, that's fine. I have to deal with that once every month when
I think as a consumer, I'm sorry, Marty.
Oh no, go ahead.
I think as a consumer, like you said, these people that are online just going for bat for Sony or going to bat for Activision Blizzard, I think them seeing it more from like this is how these deals go down, and this is how you receive your product, or this is how this is distributed here or distributed there. I think if they see how corporations can be extremely dishonest or shisty and money hungry, I think it will really put in perspective for a lot of people, like, wow, like they really are just a bunch of money hungry people.
Yeah.
So I really hope, I'm interested now. I'm going to be following this. I'm going to see if any of the court documents are public and for public record. And I'm definitely going to be reading some of this stuff so I can
There's going to be some night court stories coming out of this.
some juice and some tea for sure.
Yeah.
Please at me with the highlights when you do that.
I am definitely, I'm really
I don't know enough about legal stuff to be able to like read it and understand it, but I really want to know.
Yeah, if that stuff comes out, I'm sure we'll get a bunch of like there'll be like a big Bloomberg article, and then somebody else will write a too long didn't read.
Make it readable for dummies.
Yeah.
Corporate law, like it was for my paralegal certificate. Corporate law was probably my least favorite subject I took in school. Like it was just. But when I now that I'm like, it's a subject that's interesting to me, video games, obviously.
Of course. So
now that it's specific to something that I like, I'm like, okay, now I can actually read something about this and it's okay.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. Video games make everything better.
They do.
Even corporate espionage.
Yep.
But okay, that's gonna do it then for the Sigma Show, episode 96. Hope you guys enjoyed. Marty, why don't you let folks know where they can find you and what do you have coming up that they can check out?
Heck yeah. You can follow me on Twitch at McBiggity. That's the handle above my head. I've been streaming a couple times a week. I'm getting probably close-ish to the last act of Twilight Princess. I'll be streaming more of that this afternoon, probably around 3 or 4 Central. So tune in for that. And then otherwise, just check out all the great stuff we got going on at The Escapist, both the YouTube channel, the websites, great streams, great video content, great written content, all sorts of great stuff.
Nice. Jesse, how about you? Around. What do you got coming up? Where can folks find you?
You can check me out on my channel, which is Rexcon Jesse on Twitch. If you look for Rexcon Jesse on YouTube, you'll find me as well, even though it's actually Jesse Galena on there. And then also Twitter. I'll be streaming on my channel tomorrow. I am currently playing a game for 3M Bar review that'll come out probably next week, but I can't say what it is yet.
We got a lot of juicy 3MRs coming.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this one.
Yeah.
Also, Romancylvania comes out next week.
Yeah, really soon.
I don't know. I'm hoping we get a code for that to review. If not, I'm going to play it anyway because I backed it on Kickstarter. So that doesn't have to do with me. I'm just excited about that game, so I'm going to take this moment to tell everybody. And then, I don't know, Casey and I streams over on The Escapist. We're doing the God of War. Oh, we're doing the God of War test.
Yeah.
Yeah, make that test for Wednesday,
I do
Casey.
have to make that test. All right.
I said I would try and remind you every day, and this is the first time I've reminded
This is the first time Jesse's tried to remind me. I do need to make the test, though.
Failed.
You should have ChatGPT make you a test.
Could it
yeah.
What do you mean could it do that?
Go to ChatGPT and then put make a test about Greek mythology taught from God of War 2 and see what it gives you.
I might do that. I probably won't use it wholesale, but I'll do that to see what it actually says.
Yeah, I'm legitimately curious if it has enough context to know, like what to do with that.
That's very funny.
AIs are scary, but also fascinating. So, all right, I don't know. That's it.
All right. Yokina Cat, how about you? Where can folks find you? What are you up to?
They can find me on Twitter. That's just kind of the primary social media that I use for right now. I'm not on Instagram right now or Facebook, so they can find me on Twitter. Is it right there?
Yep, you got it.
Okay. They can find that's my gamer tag. Also, like everything's the same for me. So, on PlayStation, I've been getting a lot of game challenge requests for Tekken on TikTok actually. So, you can find me on TikTok too. I just post just clips of my Tekken stuff. Other than that, I don't really post anything. So, you can find me on there. And then, of course, as always, you can find me in the Open Party Discord. Um, Other than that, that's pretty much where you can find me.
Nice. So thanks to my three guests. Great conversation, great show. Thanks to everybody in chat for joining in. As for me, you can find me at SigmaGears9 right here on Twitch, as well as at Twitter, where I post about whatever else I'm doing. On the Open Party channel, as Kat mentioned, which is the other group that we have, 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. Super Smash Sunday is back with me and Jeff. Outside of that, over on the Escapist channel, what am I doing over there? I just released 3 more for Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Also released a piece, a written piece about some beginner tips for that game. So if you're having a little trouble or you need to wrap your mind around some of the systems in there, I wrote like a little explainer. So go check that out over on the site. There should be the Smash Bros. Brawl 15th anniversary piece going up
Bros everywhere.
So many bros.
Crypto Bros, Smash Bros.
Square Enix bros. God, they're everywhere.
So that should be going up soon. I think you said the 9th was the
later this week is the 15th anniversary.
Yeah, so that should be going up. I wrote a piece about how the Subspace Emissary is still well loved and kind of a unique thing from that series to this day. So check that out. And all the regular streams that we do with like me and Marty playing through Half-Life, me and Jesse playing random hidden gems / the God of War series.
Like Wanted Dead.
Like Wanted Dead for 2 weeks in a row.
Worth it.
It was worth it. I will stand by that game for a very long time. I think that's pretty much it. That's all I can think of at the moment. But I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you at some point in the future. Take care. Bye.
Hi, everyone.
Bye, everybody.